So today I'm going to be giving you guys some tips and tricks on how to get easier headshots within Black Ops 6. Now, headshots is a requirement for almost every single gun in this game to start unlocking special camos. I'm pretty sure almost every single gun in this game requires 100 headshots before you can start unlocking the special camos. So you're going to be getting a lot of headshots, which is probably why you've come to this video. So today I'm going to be giving you guys some tips and tricks on how to get headshots a little bit easier within Black Ops 6. Just before we get started with today's video, if you are new around here and you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be posting a lot more camo guides and tips and tricks like this for Black Ops 6 in the future, so if you like what you see today, stick around the channel. But with that out of the way, we're just going to hop right into my tips and tricks. So the first thing that I would start looking at when going for headshots is your class setup. We're going to start with the weapon itself. The kind of attachments you want to be adding to your weapon is basically just anything that reduces your recoil. Your horizontal mainly, but your vertical ideally as well. So this could range from your foregrip to your rear grip to your muzzle, even to the barrel, or even the stock. Anything that reduces that recoil is going to help you. It basically eliminates any outside factors of your aim going off of the head. And on top of this, I would use some kind of low zoom clear optic with no big fancy reticle. Just a nice little red dot would be perfect. For example, on the assault rifles, the AccuPoint Reflex, I believe it's called, is a great sight. Basically, any low zoom optic with a small frame is going to be your best friend. It just makes aiming for the head a lot easier. Now, in terms of the rest of the class setup, I've got kind of two builds which you can use here, which we'll talk about the playstyle and why I've chosen these things later on. But the first kind of group of things that I want to talk about is Sleeper Agent, the field upgrade, and Ninja and Tracker, the two perks. And like I say, we'll talk about why I'm selecting these later. And the second set of equipment as well is going to be the perk Tac Mask and Stun Grenades or Flash Grenades as well. Like I say, we'll talk about the playstyles that involve both of these sets of class builds later on. Next up, I want to talk about your settings. Now, the first setting that I would change is your vertical sensitivity. Maybe just knock it down one or two what it is now. And the reason that I say this is if you're aiming at the head and your vertical sensitivity is too high, there's a possibility you might drag your aim too far down or too high up to the point where you're just missing the head. If I'm being honest, there's no real reason why your vertical sensitivity should be very high. I mean, we're not playing Black Ops 3 here. People aren't flying through the sky. So I'd say something around about 4 or 5. That's kind of where I'm at. I would also turn your controller vibration off. Not necessarily because it knocks your aim off, but it can be a little bit distracting, I guess. I just don't really like controller vibration in COD. And I would also turn off your motion blur. Anything that says motion blur, turn it off, and also your depth of field as well. You don't want to see your target just be a big blurry mess. You want to see them as clearly as possible. Now, in terms of game modes and maps, I personally am really enjoying just playing standard hardpoint 6v6. I've not had any issues with this so far, and I'm getting through my camo grind pretty easily doing this. But hardcore is something that's always been a recommended game mode for getting headshots in COD. It's very straightforward. It takes less bullets to kill, so it takes typically one bullet to the head to kill somebody. Obviously, that goes both ways, which is kind of why I don't really play hardcore. I feel like it can be a little slow and campy, but if you are struggling, maybe your first shot accuracy is really good, hardcore might be the better game mode for you because, like I say, just one shot to the head is all it's going to take. Another game mode that I'd recommend is Face Off 6v6. Now, again, personally, I don't really want to play this mode. I don't want to play 3 cage style maps for the next month. I just don't really enjoy that much, but this is just going to result in more engagement. They're smaller maps, more opportunities for headshots, and it is definitely going to be a lot quicker than playing standard 6v6. For me, it's just preference based. Like, I don't want to play the same 3 or 4 maps over and over again. It gets kind of boring, I think, in that sense. But if you want to get this done as quick as possible, Face Off 6v6 is going to be the best option. See, my mindset is kind of quality over quantity. I prefer the sort of slightly bigger maps, less elevation, where I'm going to be getting a higher percentage of kills that are headshots as opposed to just getting a sheer higher amount of headshots, if that makes sense. Like I said, that's just a preference thing. I think if you want to get this done as quickly as possible, Face Off is going to be the better option. Like I said, it's just more engagement. You're going to see more people, and therefore it's going to result in more headshots. Now, let's get into the playstyle for earning headshots, which is probably the most important part. Now, I would keep your aim around about eye level if you can. Not necessarily on the head if you're playing core. I'd probably say around about upper chest, where you think the enemy's upper chest is going to be. Don't run around looking at the ground or in the sky. And then when you bring your gun up to get into that gunfight, you should be aiming around about the upper chest. and either your aim or your recoil should just about naturally bring you up to the head, and you get the final shots of the kill into the head, resulting in a headshot. Now, if you're playing hardcore, I would just recommend aiming straight for the head. Obviously, it takes a single bullet, so if you're aiming upper chest, you're going to be killing them upper chest, so I would always just aim for the head in hardcore. If you are struggling with aiming at a certain point, then I would recommend hopping into the firing range or a private match with bots, and just practice aiming for the head, you know, with rotational aim assist, with moving target, anything that's really going to help your aim improve. And the class setups that we discussed before, the sleeper agent, ninja, and tracker setup. Now, this is going to be primarily for a stealth build, for flanking. You could add a suppressor on your weapon as well, which I kind of forgot to mention, but this is very much a stealth build. You want to be flanking your enemies, coming up behind them, using that sleeper agent so they think that you're a teammate, and taking them by surprise, shooting them in the head. I mean, there's no easier way to get a headshot than somebody who's not trying to kill you. I remember this was a tactic in Black Ops Cold War for point blank kills on whatever the ground war equivalent was in that game, but you would basically just flank around the map and run up to the enemy and shoot them in the back. But it's basically the same thing with headshots. Obviously, there's no kind of ground war in this game to be able to do that specifically, but the idea is kind of the same. Just try and get behind the enemy or to the side of the enemy, or basically just in a position where they're not suspecting you, and shoot them in the head. It should be a lot easier. And the other build that we talked about as well with tac mask and stuns and flash grenades, very self-explanatory. Just throw your stuns, throw your flashes. Tac mask should protect you from your own equipment, and just shoot them in the head. I mean, they'll be standing still, they shouldn't be able to see or move, so it should make getting that headshot a lot easier. And the final most important tip that I can give for going for headshots, which I say every single time with a camo grind, just be prepared for your KD to tank. I mean, I wouldn't sit there looking at your KD going, oh, I'm going negative this game, or oh, my KD's dropping. There's no point in getting worked up over that. I mean, you can value your KD, but if you're going for dark matter, your priority should be dark matter. You shouldn't really be looking at your KD. And ultimately as well, the way that I would look at it is you're letting skill-based matchmaking do its job. If you have 3 or 4 games in a row where you're going negative, you should end up playing against potatoes with no thumbs. That should make earning headshots a lot easier. But there we go. There's all my tips and tricks for earning easier headshots in Black Ops 6. Hopefully this makes your camo grind journey a little bit easier. If there's anything else that you're struggling with, leave a comment down below. Maybe some other camo challenges or other challenges in the game in general that you want me to talk about, and I'll definitely make a video on that. So thank you guys very much for watching this video. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.